Good evening, I'm Jess Lujan. Welcome to election night, and it's of course decision 2014. Doc, how you doing this evening?
Very good. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you. Thank you very much for coming in here. Hey, we're here to analyze. I think it's safe to say that two people will be eliminated from this from this election. You know, there were some ballot concerns that we have been receiving basically from this afternoon on. I think there was a total of about 18 ballots, maybe, that only had one party printed on that. GEC has come out and said basically that they're taking account for these these mistakes, and I guess is a printing error. But your thoughts, Doc?
Well, that's only about 1 out of every 5,000 ballots. Very small number, and this is a partisan election, and so it's not as if there's going to be a declared winner based on a final outcome as if it's a general election. So this might just be a learning point for the general election.
And my understanding as well that the GEC are considering these ballots basically spoil ballots, and that this new machine, I don't know if the old machine had the capacity of doing that, but this new machine will spit them out anyway as spoil ballots. So they won't be counted. Voter turnout. I went through some precincts today. Most everybody said the same thing. I mean, I know in our precinct, I know there's a surge in the morning and surge probably at noon, and then again, towards the closing of the polls. But it seems to be consistent all the way around that it's been a trickle throughout the day.
Yeah, I went around 9 o'clock this morning. It took me 6 minutes to vote. Very fast and very well run. But I think that in general, we're going to have, as everyone would expect, probably a low turnout for this race. There's almost 50,000 voters. I'm going to be surprised at the most if even 20,000 voted, probably even less.
And we're going, of course, it's a 3-day weekend. We've got, of course, Labor Day come Monday. I mean, unless some of these folks, a lot of folks get out of town, 3-day weekends, unless they voted ahead of time. There's a few people that I saw today. Did you vote already? We're just going to wait for the general election. I said, why don't you just do it now? And they think it, as you said, it was a waste of time to do it. I tried to argue otherwise, but they were insistent. Of course, they're just going to wait to the general election. As things started to filter. The results tonight. Of course, we're going to have 15 on both sides. We're going to have 2 delegates, definitely, one from the Republican side, one from the Democratic side. Both gubernatorial teams will advance to the general election. Now, what confuses me, Doc, is the AG's office. Okay, the law says basically the top 2 will advance to the final. We only have 2. So they'll both again advance. I mean, wouldn't have it been maybe a greater turnout had the legislature said, hey, because there's only 2, maybe the Office of Attorney General should be decided on this election?
Sure. The Attorney General's race is one of the races that could be decided in this kind of election. The legislative race, the governor's race, they have to be at the general election. But really, I think that the legislature could say, when you only have 2 candidates at the primary, it'll be decided. And in fact, one state, Louisiana, did this in their congressional primary for many years. They allowed the congressional seat to be decided at the primary. The Supreme Court threw that out. But there's nothing that would prevent a local election, like for a local attorney general, to be decided that way. And it might be. Now, we had a poll that we didn't tell anybody about.
We had a poll, and I tell you what, we're going to reveal it tonight. We didn't want to put it out. We wanted something to talk about, at least in the initial part of their primaries, or something exciting anyway. Doc, the UOG students did a poll, and this was as of Sunday, right? Last Sunday, almost a week ago today. 300 voters, right? 300 voters.
Yes.
Polled. And the Elizabeth Barrett Anderson came out with,
if I recall, it was about 59%.
59%. The incumbent Attorney General Lenny Rapadas came out with 41%.
Sure.
So Liz, as of Sunday, had an 18-point lead.
Sure. But again, it could be entirely different today. Polls really have a 3-day shelf life or less. But again, you never know. One key thing about the Attorney General's race is we don't really, in a lot of polls, when we do a lot of polling, we don't poll dead-to-doe very well. And if the AG the current AG is going to do really well in Dedito, then that might change this dynamic quite a bit.
Now that has changed because from the very beginning, we talked about this on the buzz, that of course when Liz Barrett Anderson had announced her candidacy, went to file her paperwork. I mean, her number just surged. It was a surge. Now a couple days later, it seemed to kind of balance out. And then it took an upswing again. What do you contribute to that?
I think it's election cycle roller coaster. I think it's going to go up and down throughout the cycle, and we'll see. You know, and there's nothing that's going to prevent either candidate from winning this election. And you know, there's going to be all kinds of Cinderella story potentials elections in this particular election, legislative wise, gubernatorial race wise. There's all kinds of interesting things that can happen.
Well, Doc, thank you again. Hey, we'll come back. We'll throw it back to the folks, the main folks, right? We'll come back, and as the numbers come in, we'll talk more about that. Okay?
Very good.
Brought to you by